Okay, hello, Blue Mammoth.
Okay.
So, for those of you who don't know, I'm, I do like effects and stuff. Jeez, it's hard to like to not curse.
Don't worry, you warm up.
Just imagine us all naked. It's gonna make it easier.
Well, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a great first video. It's all of Blue Mammoth.
I mean, we're always wondering.
We're more comfortable this
We're
way.
like dropping hot cheese on ourselves.
I'm the OSHA officer. I'm gonna say.
But yes, this is just a file of all things that I have done that I've been like, I like that. And so I just kind of grab them and throw them all in this one place. Now, as you guys know, I do effects animation, or traditional animation, 2D animation. So typically what you would do, at least to get, I'm going to start over. These are all finished. The thing I should probably explain is how you get to a finished effects, or a finished point, like this, for example. My process, I'm a little OCD about certain things, but I think it benefits in the long run. So as far as my process is concerned, typically what I'll usually do is lay out as many things as I possibly can. I just moved that and I shouldn't. Okay. But so this is just for like the blaster base effect. We were messing around with different ideas. So at the time, I laid out all the characters that that have blasters, and then I was like, well, what would look cool on any of them? Now, of course, the first set I was like, it can't be a bullet or like it's got to be some kind of like concussive thing. So I was trying to mess around with like different forces. Of course, none of these came out to be the final. There was just entirely too much going on in all of them, but it was good to get all the ideas out of the way. You don't have to whisper, Dave.
Fine. What I was saying was, this is the dumbest thing we know.
So also more pizza. Yeah. So what does that mean? There's too much going on.
So I've got about now. When I was first messing around with this, I wasn't entirely sure, or we weren't entirely sure how long the shots were going to be. After actually jumping into the animation file, I saw that there were only about anywhere from 2 to 4 at most frames of gunshot animation or blast animation. So all of these were too complicated, save maybe these middle two right here. I think I have somewhere I actually animated all of these. Yeah, well, 4 frames. I just went through and saw which ones I could resolve in 4 frames. But there's somewhere I have them where they're all animated. But yeah, typically I do that for anything. So like, if you guys remember the dwarf Olgrim going through his many iterations of multi-tools. I think, yeah. Yeah, let me see. I have a folder somewhere. Yeah. Of all my spreads. So, these are some of the other, like, layouts I've done for other characters, like Jala. I'm trying to see where we could get. Oh, this one I like just because this was a spread I did before we even had the character figured out. Whoops. So,
why didn't I see this?
well, I sent this to Terry. We were still talking about like things a techno ninja could.
They didn't want to involve either of
This was when we were talking about Val, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like when we first started talking about it, and I was like, it'd be cool. Like I was like, when they said techno ninja, I was like, I gotta get this crap out of my head.
Tekken came out of those.
Yeah, the Ninja Balance.
Oh, right. What came out of this thing?
The Ninja Balance, where she's like
Oh, yeah.
flipping them around, so the bottom left imagery layer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's the next game. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Just draw that all the time.
But yeah, they're you know, typically the character's more fleshed out by the time I get to mess around with them. That was one of the rare cases where I didn't I didn't wait. These are some of the demon concepts for the mobster. Bomb concepts for Diana. Core.
Alright, we're going back.
Wolves. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Now, yeah, Core. As soon as we started talking about him like balling up, like that one. Kind of, I like the idea of like, what if it was something else? Especially if we could like work the that eye design into whatever he turns into. I figured it'd still be pretty recognizable that it was him. So I was messing around with concepts for that. I think ultimately we ended up on the cobbled rock look. And these were some of the sketches I did for how. I think this one I was talking to Terry about different ways it could resolve. It's like, yeah, and this one, the top two were more focused on the swing. The bottom one I was curious if he like shifted orientation during the roll, so he could like get more of a sideways swing out of it. But I think we went straight forward with this one. These were gifts. Same thing with the slam. But the main thing is that like it's a super, like, before I send anything out, I try to get as much out of my brain as possible. And not really, I try not to cling to any particular themes, like, any particular concepts. This one was just kind of like done. Like I did a spread, and it was just like, it's like, okay, yeah, we're doing that. And then we just went to colors, like straight up.
So why do you think it went that way instead of Diana? So many concepts, were you in a hurry or did you just nail it?
Well, there.
The ladder.
It was it was a combination of reasons. For Diana, she was pretty well fleshed out before I even got to her in terms of like her background and what she was going to be like, even down to like what time period she was in. So typically, I have a lot more gray area or in terms of design. So I try to like hone in on like what trope are we focusing on, or what character type are we focusing in on. What's cool about that, and then what can be specifically ours about that. So, you know, we have a samurai. What makes him our samurai and not a samurai? Which is why, you know, we thought the ink aspect of his attacks would be super cool, and the blue flaming arrows and such. And with Diana, again, because the character I felt like was pretty well fleshed out, that kind of left less designing on like how her attacks were going to look or where inspiration was going to be pulled from. That helped me a lot in that regard. I had a lot less a lot less free space there. So instead, what I focused in on was trying to get this kind of chaff look to her attacks, and this almost like there's maybe silver shavings or some kind of chemical component to her attacks. And yeah, those are all the colors for that. Now, back to this guy. Once we've decided on a spread, the next thing I will typically do. Oh, actually, Val was another one that I did. I did literally one sketch for.
Now you're just showing off.
Let me see. I think. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Bryn. My bad. There we go.
Wait a minute.
This is straight up the sketch I did for Bryn. Yeah. But yeah, so that one went pretty good. What was that? Where was that? Yes. Okay, sorry. But yeah. So now in terms of her kit, that phase needed to be done super quick. Mostly because with most characters you have like a swoosh. Like this is a Taros effect that I really like, but it's literally it's just a swoosh. Oh, I was messing around with this in my free time and just added a flash to the character. But
Wait, show me what you had.
He put a flash, an actual.
Oh, on the character.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just to see what that would look like. But now with Bryn, I had to animate the wings and her swooshes. And this was pre-Steven days, so I had to do all of that alone. But so this was the rough phase for this particular set of wings. I tried to not to do every frame's worth of rough, but just enough to get the idea. One thing that saves me a ton of time is typically, if I can avoid it, I don't do roughs. So this is one of those, like, again, the swoosh itself, there is no rough for that. But things like this where there's an almost character animation element involved, you just have to. Like it's not gonna come out looking good without a rough, without a plan. Man, now come to think of it, now this probably could have been a bit cooler with some of the new features we've got, as far as like actually having that translate, because in this animation she's not moving, so I just kind of had to assume where her weight was going to be and eyeball it. And the same thing goes for these. Oh, that one doesn't have a rough. But yeah, so the next thing that I'll do in terms of the Jade pipeline is I'll try to get a base. That's the fire. So the base is just, I'm blocking this in as cleanly as I can. In one shade, there's no lighting or anything. And so that's when you get that phase. And that's where I keep an eye out for, like, did the scale change in my rough? Were there any inconsistencies that I should be aware of? Like, the wings in the original frames were just freaking huge. And then they shrink down to a more reasonable size over during the attack.
That's how birds manage their speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they deal with progress.
Yeah. So, and then from there, with her, I didn't want them to just look like regular wings because they're kind of poofing in and out. So I added kind of like a glowy, an edge, which I do often, but here to add kind of like a magical element, so that when the attack ends and they like disappear, you're not like, oh, like no. Yeah.
Lingering hitbox.
Yeah.
Every time. Does it hurt? Every time.
Yeah, really. Every single time.
Well, in the original Bren, when the effects would wind up, it'd be like feathers floating there, kind of like the Sylvester A. Tweety feathers.
Yeah.
How did that figure in?
Oh yeah, that's an in-world effect. So it's not in my. I haven't pieced that into my file here. Yeah, my bad. But so now what happens there? Yeah. Now with in-world effects, what I'll typically do is I'll just animate the whole thing in here. And then I'll take the pieces that need to be in world, and I'll separate them out into their own asset. Now, yeah. Oh. But I don't know if that camera's actually filming or not.
That was a particular moment I remember with the Sylvester and Tweety feathers that they looked really cool, and they would linger there for so long, it messed up combat. Was the feeling people had.
Yeah, and you could actually get, if you were quick, you could get overlapping, lingering feathers. So yeah, I shortened that a good deal and faded them out to kind of add to that magically bit. I actually got rid of some of the feathers too. There were a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of feathers. Like, well, when I was first doing it, I was like, they're 2 full wings. So me doing like 9, 10 feathers isn't that. I'm not.
Right.
I'm selling it short as it is, and then we get it in game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you first had it in there, I loved it. I was like, yeah, look at those feathers. And then we were actually good at the game. We're like this close.
Yeah. Like that's okay. Tidbit of information for you guys or anybody watching. Should we post this? Test, like, if you are working for something in game versus animation for other industries, get it in the game, because those are things that you will not find out in the file. Like, you'll sit there, you'll finish and be like, that looks great, and then you throw it in the game and you're like, that looks like straight ass. And it's not because you did something wrong from an animation standpoint. It's because it's a game and people are moving, and there are things that have to be communicated quickly and clearly. And just because the animation's good doesn't mean it does that. So that was a huge learning curve for me.
Can you play it a couple times with like the edge and the highlight
Oh, sure.
visible? Because I don't think it's played.
Oh, my bad. Get rid of the raw.
Or the raw.
Oops.
Is that like the final product?
This is the one that's in game right now.
Missing the feathers.
Yeah, missing the dissipation and the fire on the axe.
Do you ever copy like the character's head in to help you, or you just stop with that?
You just look
If it's super relevant, I will. Actually, back in the Dungeon Blitz days, you would see this pretty often. This was an effect I did for the, I think it was the Soul Thief.
Yeah, I remember that.
And yeah, if you can see there, typically we would have a layer that's behind the character. I was a little bit pressed for time, so there is not. And he is just silhouetted vaguely in the animation. And nobody notices. If it's done well. Actually, I think there's one more that I did that in. but it's no longer in the game. If I go back to, I think this was an old Vrax move.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe, oh no, I wrapped it around his head.
Oh man. Character animation is balls. Who did that? Jesus, this guy's even trying.
That's another. These aren't the final animations either, Daryl.
Oh, are they not?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were working on this one simultaneously.
Oh, okay. Alright, okay.
So if you notice, he like
It's a
there
little
there
bit poppy, yeah.
there's.
They're all
Really
out.
getting it, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't look at it as
Spam
spam, that's just that.
That's the ultimate edge guarding.
There's some Sharp animation in there they gotta add.
Yeah, that one was super fun. I actually did this one at home entirely, and yeah, just like some of these in between frames. Yeah, I want to do more of this, like where things can just hit surfaces, like
Right.
that.
Plasma, arcing, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like all of that. I loved all of that. That's another one I like. It's very simple move, but probably one of my favorite. It's in terms of like animating for. Just because of how much time I got to do stuff. So he's like, effects.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Effects. Like Sentinel was just awesome for that. Effects.
So whenever we
It's a
have
Jade
like,
show.
whenever we have VO callouts and stuff.
Yeah, really. Exactly. Yeah. Sentinel slinging around that CG. Him and Roland.
Okay, so this I remember as being sort of a real change moment because this was Hattori and Roland. They came out at the same time.
Oh,
and we kinda knew
yes.
both of them. And this was so different than anything we'd done before. And this was all you guys saying, no, this is gonna work. So this is an interesting one.
Yep.
The giant guy who just appears and does the effect with you.
I'm not gonna lie, when that got pitched, when I pitched that, I was absolutely certain that it was just gonna get vetoed outright. And Lincoln was like the first one to be like, no, I like this. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
No, if I was gonna say if Lincoln's with you,
Okay.
that's it. That's a golden moment.
Am I dead?
I used to have the rough in here. Damn it. Or darn it.
Saved.
We're just gonna replace the first one with the second one.
Yeah, it's fine, and then I'll just repeat it.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Yeah, I'll just say a stock. Dang it, and y'all can just like,
Yeah,
like
throw that over.
yeah, throw that over there.
We should call this segment "Game Development on the First Try."
Yeah. Nailed it.
There we go. There we're going.
Ship it. We're done.
But here is again, we were kind of pressed for time with the whole, we were still pretty new to the 6B thing.
6B was pretty intense. Though.
Yeah.
A whole lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, again, for people that don't know, 6B was when was an iteration of the signature system that we were trying.
Yeah.
Originally, everyone had one signature and used every weapon. We tried moving to we went through a bunch of systems.
6 or 6.5.
I was gonna.
Yeah,
Well,
6.5, yeah.
What? Wait, wasn't there a 6C and like?
6.5. There
I was
were
gonna. I
also a lot
don't
of
think.
combinations
Yeah,
of all of
I don't
them.
think it was the last. I don't think 6B was the last one. I no, I totally agree. I think so.
Yeah, it ended up in a good spot.
I think we did.
Remember-
Yeah, we
remember-
chose that one.
I remember things like, so
Bless you.
what does a ninja giant hammer?
Yeah.
Maybe she
figure
just
that
kicks
out.
the hammer.
Maybe
Yeah.
Maybe
Flips
she
around
jumps
somewhere.
on the hammer. I don't know.
It
I'll be
wasn't a
honest.
scale either. I can't imagine like coming out with Scythe and having to go back and make 28 new saves for it.
my gosh, yeah, no, that would be nuts.
Cassidy on the stripper pole.
Oh yes.
I remember she'd throw her guns up and it was like fireworks.
No,
Oh god.
She would plant her lance.
Yeah, she
and then
lands.
she'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. No, she's sticking
Why
with the
isn't that
tornado
big?
motif.
She couldn't
She
get
was a real good
a little
Cassie.
sensitive. As soon as you do that,
Yeah, really, really, Daryl.
and then you throw yourself.
It's like, yeah, the initial pose sets it up.
Yeah.
So.
That would actually be pretty awesome. Now Roland's, yeah, most of his effects didn't have roughs, but man, in terms of like just one of the easiest things for me personally to animate is fire. Now again, swooshes. Roland and Sentinel. I have a file with just those two in it, and they have some of the best, just because of like what they do in the attacks. Like that whole first swoosh and the fact that it gets to like, because he follows through on that stab or that thrust, I should say. I got some really nice kind of follow through on the fire, which I super fun to animate. I wish I'd have done some more in-world stuff for that, but it came out pretty clean.
Yeah, the way I remember it is that we had done, not long before, we had done Nash's Six, which just kind of came off as like, well, all right, you know,
Oh.
he just swings and there's some
Yeah.
fire
Which one is that?
and
Which
stuff.
one is that? Is that wait?
This
And
w-
then Minotaur and Roland came out right after that.
Is that the canon? Or
this
is that-
no, this was when
Is that
Lucian.
Highwayman? Yeah, good.
Yeah, this was when Lucian had a lance.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you were going for like the whole like the
I remember that.
flintlock
Yeah,
Yeah.
styled spark and fire and all.
and man, like, just again, ground interaction. Anytime I get to do it, I freaking love that stuff. And that's when you get these little guys at the bottom that just go freaking nuts.
And then we had gravity cancel.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like, how does gravity canceling like affect your processing?
Oh boy.
We only
Okay.
have a few minutes left.
So,
Yeah, just
Oh.
pretend like gravity cancel doesn't exist. For your purposes.
well, I try to, but I would lay awake at night if I did. So things like this, they would see right here the boulders that kind of pop up, little gooey boulders. They are clearly interacting with the surface. Whereas now, I typically try to keep something fluid or some elemental force interacting with the ground and solid objects interacting with that force. So like Kor's rocks, for example, they burst out of this kind of like, that's why he's so dusty. So his rocks can burst out of this this kind of, let me see. That's the sketch. Do I have him? He should be in this file. I like his animations. But actually I'll just pull him up because I can do that here. Da-na-na. Maybe. Golem. Oh my god. Alright, I lied. Forget him. Just like in Dave's sketch session.
What's that Mordex final?
Funny you should mention. but yeah. Oh wait, maybe he's in here. I'll just check for.
Someone say more.
No. No one said. What is all this? Oh, these are all my different sketch layers. Yeah. No, it exploded into rocks. Yeah, you're good. Oh, this is a thing I started doing recently. Recently, as in several characters ago. I had this bad habit of animating on blacks, or black backgrounds, which is great because any effect and I will demonstrate. Any effect looks great on black. Just high contrast makes everything look good. Wushang is a darn good example. If I can find him. Let me see, he should be...
Just believe that he was playing Brawlhalla. And he was so play Brawlhalla.
Yeah. Yes.
If I had to do it one more coming to PS4.
It's a good plan.
Yeah.
Now, again, he had a lot of these little wispy guys that come off. And again, on black, there's just a lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally catch. And if we get rid of the black, a lot of it kind of starts to disappear as the background gets lighter. So that's, oh, wait, no. Just depends on the color. But yeah, so that's Jade pro tip right there. Be mindful of the background. And if you can, grab some in-game assets and work on that. It's a thing I've grown quite fond of. Now, let me see. Oh, that was another one. Now we can actually track where the character is going to move. MCs will send me coordinates, so we'll actually know where the character's transitioning, or translating, excuse me. So it's easier for me to get animations that move with the character. Back in the day, that was not a thing. So, like, Ada, again, doesn't move. Now, you see?
So many spear charms.
Yeah. And also, yeah, that one changed a lot, too. You see how huge that hitbox is. It's like, don't touch me! Yeah. Do you imagine that? Like, yes, if you think Ada's neutral spear is bad now.
Yeah, really. Yeah, at the end of this
Back in the
split into two A's.
Just permanently.
oh no, it might as well have. Remember, there was a ground impact. This
No, I
thing,
remember.
yeah, this thing
It
landed.
was a ground impact, and also, it would scoop off the ground and also had better coverage on you when you're actually
Yeah.
through the
Just finishing moves.
air. Which is, you don't touch me while I'm doing this.
Yeah, you just wait.
Yeah, just wait. I hope I don't choose that move again.
Just tears his head off.
Are you not into There's more SFX coming out of the head after that. What do I even do?
I say, it's heaven
One of
for
those
me.
fireworks that just like shoots sparks. It's a lingering hitbox.
So, just curious, is there anything that you guys wonder about in terms of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character animator, and why is it Hero?
Chopin was not even here to realize you
That's a
stole
good
that
question.
from me.
I heard a lot of Sentinels were just a joy in my life. And Praxis were a joy in my life. Anime, I did it at home and whatnot. I just can't imagine it.
I got a question.
Very similar.
Yeah, seriously. How much weight do you think I could leg press?
Wrong.
Hey, my answer was all of it, sir.
Okay, so how many different ways have you had to animate fire for different characters and like themes and styles, or not just fire, but any other kind of thing? 'Cause it's like, well, there's Ross's fire, there's so and so's fire, there's Ragnar's fire. So.
Steven did
Steven did
Ragnar's
That's
fire.
easy.
So.
Well, once I tried your do it on the first try thing.
Nailed it every time.
Yeah.
But oh boy, yeah, that's actually a good question. So the thing. Oh,
Oh, just saying, like Nash's fire versus Roland's fire would be,
Nash's fire.
yeah, like Nash, yeah, like.
Oh.
Reddish.
Oh yeah, his
reddish.
swings.
Yeah, his
His
swings
very
are all
much
fire.
Or actually the swoosh. That
Yeah,
swoosh
that's
was
a swoosh.
Fire related swoosh.
But well, there are in my. I'll just usually have video reference going before I actually start working on a character, and I don't, for whatever reason, I don't like actually having the reference up while I work. I like to try to absorb as much as I can beforehand and then get rid of it. So that way I focus more on what the character's doing in terms of like, that was a cool thing I just saw in that, propane explosion. I'm going to try to get that same role. Like, no, I'm going to follow the arc of the character. And now, but in my reference, I've seen there are several different types of fire. There are chemical burn fires. There are, like, a lot of your fire is dependent on what's causing it or what's driving it, and how long it burns, how long it stays in the air, whether it falls or floats. And yeah,
Okay.
so
Making like real life connections right now.
yeah,
If it's like from like this burning liquid, it's probably gonna fall. Or
Yeah.
It's just like a gas explosion.
yeah, and Barraza is more the liquid burn. It's just like he'll scrape his fire along the ground, and the fire will actually stay there for a good bit longer than like Roland's fire, which I wanted to add kind of a magical element, so his fire rolls a lot. But that I didn't want to stay there very long. I want to be like, I didn't want people asking too many questions about why he even has fire in the first place. So
Well,
No
it was
question.
a touch and go time.
Wasn't a suggestion kind of like, well, if it's like Holy Night or something like
that was exactly it.
Yeah, then you don't get the questions, why does he have fire? Because it just looks so heavily themed and like tailor fit to the character that the goal is for it to make sense.
Yeah. Now, honestly, though, I would have toned it down even more if I'd have known, and I'm just going to say, Terry has done great animations too, but I was not expecting, now I'll admit, no, Daryl surprised me on Roland, because,
Because before.
well, no, I just realized, like, all the animations I'm talking about, yes, are Daryl's.
Maybe if I cover this up with fire.
Yeah, well, no. But well,
Yeah,
Fire
cut this
shots
part out of
fired.
the video.
well,
We're good.
in my brain, like we were talking about a Knight character, and everybody was getting very excited. But I know me personally, I was like, I don't give two shits about a Knight. Like, well, I mean, compared to the other stuff we've got, I was like, we've got Orion, who was Volst at the time. We've got an alien. We have Baudouin. We have a cowgirl. I see a Knight he's good on the checklist, but I don't really care. So I'm gonna make him like, I'm gonna add some, fire. Yeah, Matt was like, holy fire, holy energy, holy, like, something paladin-y.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm gonna lean into that like super hard. And then this concept of him being kind of like a hothead came into play, and Daryl started working that into his animation. So all of them were like he would turn his back to you, or he would like comb his hair, or like so. Without my animation, without the effects, I think the character was super strong, and you can even tell in people's, like, when people do fan art and things, they get that character right off the bat.
Yeah,
like,
right.
like, yeah, and a lot of times I'll try to try to beef up what the character's doing. Like, okay, I'm gonna take whatever Terry or Daryl did, and I'm gonna lean into that super hard. In Roland's case, I don't really think I needed to as hard as I did. So that's another thing, is to keep in mind, like, what is the character doing? Like Ember, for example. Terry, again, did a great job on that animation, and because Ember was actually really far down the line before I started working on her. That's a lie. She was not.
She being the first boat character, I can see how
Yeah, I just cut. It's like, nope.
I feel bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do. I just if we do post this, I temporarily lied to our community. I take that back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
It's unacceptable.
Wait, really? No,
Yeah.
I didn't lie that bad, Dave. In the trash. But yes. Actually, do I have some Ember in here?
You said Volst. That made me remember something. Remember what Rax's name used to be? He was a pop quiz.
I actually don't remember. What was?
Name real fast, but
What was it?
Yeah,
just
it was a literary.
consonants.
It was a literary reference, I believe, but it was his name was Gernsbacks.
I don't remember.
Me either.
It was Gernsbacks. I don't think it stuck for too long.
That name got killed within like 15 minutes of the team hearing it.
Understandably.
I remember seeing it like it was typed out somewhere as Gernsbacks.
Hugo Gernsback's
Yeah.
Luxembourgish inventor
Yeah.
of science fiction early
There you go.
Ah,
Had one
okay.
eye.
Yeah, Rick had a ton of like really on point literary references that went over all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Volst was
yep.
Like a family name or something like that from something. Yeah.
Roland was another like pointed.
Hotspur.
Yep, Hotspur.
Yeah.
Which I'll be honest, I actually liked that name. I was like the guy who liked it.
No,
Tori was another one of his that's like a really specific, like a samurai that
Stop.
was actually
Stop.
had like a demon related nickname. It's completely off topic.
But Ember, go.
But yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm saying.
Sorry, I was seeing what these were. I forgot I did multiple arrows. There's a lot of work that I just forget about. So, with Ember, while Terry was working on the animations, I was trying to come up with different ways that her arrows could dissipate and be windy and cool looking. I think that. Oh, yeah, that was the guide. But yeah, so started laying out concepts for wolves. Drew some wolves.
Why isn't that wolf in the game?
Time, Dave. Time.
Can I have this file? That's pretty cool.
I want that file. I'm gonna sell the FLA anyway.
Can you do
But-
that? I can make money that way?
Sell files.
Yeah, you have to make copies first.
Yeah.
Did I just get rid of all that
When it
stuff?
shows up in someone else's game, a floppy. Wait, I
So-
know that wolf.
So in Ember's case, I didn't focus on the character, the animation that would be on the character at all. Because her animations were pretty strong, I was like, well, let's leave stuff behind. Like, let's kind of supplement that by having these little, like she's leaving these little wind trails when she attacks. So instead of, I gave her really simple swooshes, and then we leave these kicks of leaves and swirly wind behind. These two are pretty much the same, only redirected based on which way she jumped. And then there's the impacts for her arrows that are also swirly wind, super tiny. And I gave her like little minor like sparks or flashes to kind of sell that supernatural bit. I do that a lot. I keep forgetting the fist is connected to the guitar. But yeah, you can see these are incredibly complicated swooshes. Like it's literally 2 colors with some cleanup. That's for the neutral.
Like a samurai jack.
Yeah.
Just put it on black.
Now, in terms of other things I just like to do. Oh, first, are there any other questions? Are there?
I mean, sure. You had the batches. Shark Attack.
Yeah.
Oh my
and I
God.
remember that being really interesting. keep going because it has to come out fast, but we have to be able to be like, oh shit, it's a shark. You know?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so like, I mean, talk about that. Working on a special effect where you want the person to see a particular thing, or you want to tell a particular story, but you have 6 frames to do it in, and it needs to wrap up nicely.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I remember now. Sorry, I'm in the wrong file.
Why did you go with the paintball?
You know,
Just kind of fits that.
okay, one thing I've gotten in the habit of doing is I would post things that I would like, and this is my.
Terrible things. We're like, okay, well, that one.
Well, again, hey, in my defense.
Yeah, we talked about sometimes you don't need the rough. But it's rough.
So this was what Lincoln posted.
Just do it.
This is Lincoln art, and he was like, again, like he had one similar for Lucian, and it was Lucian with some stock skull JPEG cropped into his down pistol, and that was really all the sketch that it needed. It was just like, you know what?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll
let's
make
do
it
that.
we'll make it work.
That's the same shark.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think even then, like, that's the kind of thing that made not just the shark happen, but it also pushed all of his effects towards saltwater.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the motif.
That was exactly it. Is there anything else in here?
Well, you took like on that one.
On which one?
Hatchback.
I was looking at hatchback.
Oh, this was some Dolce art. See, Dolce has higher resolution JPEGs. Right, he's
Also no whiteboard.
Where's that say?
yeah.
A lot of his suggestions are pun based,
Yeah.
and it's like if we can pull some meaning out of it, good.
Oh, this was an awesome happy accident.
It's like slash.
Yes, it was that was gold. How do I zoom in? Why can't I?
Middle mouse.
Yes, just Nash or not Nash. Taros, and he's
Eros and Azo.
yeah, but he's got all the parts that matter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so gold.
It's like, why doesn't this just happen?
Okay, yeah, I'm getting out of here.
Alright.
So that's those are my screensavers. I need that file.
I saw that Jala fan art with that screenshot.
Every waking moment.
Did he stop recording?
That I'm not sure. But any other questions?
What is the best animation to do?
I would really.
You were really letting it go. There's got to be a good answer to this.
Oh yeah. Also to finish though with the shark thing, that got us the the shark theme that we all know and love. It actually has like 2 frames of shark.
It's also like the best charge in the game.
Yeah. No, the music is yeah. I was so glad when we got that back and it had the like orchestral music playing right before the. Also, sharks don't make noises, so like I don't know how that noise just works so well. Like it I don't know. I'm a huge fan of that.
They just don't make noise under the water.
Yeah.
When they jump out, it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrifying when they're out of the water. Hey!
Jason says, "I'm gonna eat you."
Yeah. Well, I like that though.
I can't breathe.
Yeah.
They have lungs.
my favorite things to animate are anything where the charge is as well incorporated into the attack as these are. Like again, Scarlet, it's really nice anticipation there. I had a lot of fun. I wish I'd have done more in-world stuff with hers. Watched a lot of Steam Boy right before I did this one. Man, I can't do half of what they did. They used a lot of like kind of painterly techniques with their Steam, so around the edges and things where I start getting shapes like you see over here, to kind of scale things out. They would kind of brush them out. So in the swooshes, they would kind of not blur, but they would dissipate in a direction. So there'd be a gradation on a particular side, the side fading away from the. I'm getting into super technicalities. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me shut up
But that
right
makes
quick.
sense, but,
So yeah, whereas this one kind of fades out uniformly, which I don't like. Theirs went from back to front. So like this edge would kind of, I'm pointing, this edge would kind of trail the effect and fade out in almost like this. It's like if smoke could burn, which is another cool thing I've realized in doing effects. Vrax, when I was messing around with his, I did not have any reference to reference. So when I was messing around with it, I literally combined probably some 14 different principles of animation into one effect to get something new. In which case, I'd done a good bit of cloth animation, working on the different pet animations for Dungeon Blitz, and I thought it would be. We talked about the like a tentacle, or he's got this kind of advanced plasma tentacle thing that he can grab you with. It's reaching from the lance. It's some technology that his people have that nobody else has.
Just aren't there yet.
Yeah, we're just not quite. You know,
Close.
we're making some steps, but in terms of Rex, what I actually did was there's literally water, electricity, cloth, some elements of fire and spark, all mixed into this one element, and so the cloth actually goes from behaving like cloth to actually behaving like electricity based on what he's done. And then the splatter behaves kind of like it's water without gravity. So that's kind of how I go about making new effects. Is I look at the properties that make effects what they are, and then I start like changing them. And those are the ones that are the most fun to me. It's like you can animate fire, but what happens if if fire lingers? Typically, a bit of flame will live for about 5 frames. We'll just say one of these guys, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So typically it's about 4 or 5 frames. Well, no, like it's in that ballpark that you can give or take a frame or 2, but you start getting different people, whether or not they notice it or know exactly what's happening. They pick up on the fact that something's not behaving as they expect.
Right, because they've seen it their whole lives.
Exactly. So what you can do is change those things. What happens if this fire lingers for 10 frames as opposed to 5? Now you've got a fire that seems to be generating its own energy source. You've got a fire that's not like fire that we've seen. Or what happens when these sparks don't follow the arcs of the fire, when they start doing their own thing, which is what happens in Bryn's effects. The spark, the wisps of the fire come off to follow the swoosh, and then they do their own thing. So you end up with kind of like a magic effect. And whoops. That actually I first started messing around with back in the Dungeon Blitz days. Dungeon Blitz. When we were doing the Justicar, I believe he was called. And Daryl did this animate. I think it was Daryl. I think it was Daryl, did this animation where he like spins the. He has an axe and he like spins it, and he slings it down. And
Oh.
yeah,
Now I know what you're talking about.
and his effects were they were super simple. I just focused on the behavior instead of like detail. So a lot of his effects only have like 3 layers of color. Typically, I try to stay around that, but a 3 to 5 is the sweet spot for me. So you notice like all of these.
Yeah, it feels like that fire that you were just showing us, like, it feels like a callback to a 40s Disney movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The-
It's like the Black Cauldron.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which gives it a fantasy, fantastical feel. That Roland has the same thing with the rolling.
Yes. That's exactly what I was shooting for.
I get what you mean by like interaction with the environment, because I see the origin point. He's like scratching it. And
Yeah.
You can feel it.
Exactly. That's
you can feel that scratch without even having to see the character animation with it, which is a lot of fun to look at.
and again, like those are the most engaging things to me to do as an effects animator is when a character like when people are asking me about or when we're pitching ideas as far as animation are concerned, those are the ones that get me excited. Is when a character drags the weapon along the ground, or when I can see immediately things I can do with the effects, which is again why Scarlet and Sentinel, Ember, let me see who else. They all have some really nice charges, and nice gestures in their effects. And jeez, that's still.
Now we just cut to the montage of Jade's animations for.
Yeah.
Where are we on that?
What are your brush settings like, since this has to be done in Flash?
Oh, yes.
Because like it can be pretty finicky. I'm just curious how you get things to actually like stay on model and stuff when you have to go from frame to frame without the brush deciding to just do its own thing.
Typically, what I'll try to do is work at the same. Nope, that's a lie. I was gonna say work at the same scale, but I do a lot of zooming in and zooming out. So typically with the brush, I click that 4 times before I realize. I'll work in the 45 to 50 range, somewhere between. But they're.
That's the trick. That's it. GG easy. Now I know.
Yeah. Well, like, if you like, there's a lot of with pressure sensitivity. There's a lot of nuance to be gained when Flash does what you tell it. So the main thing is trying to figure out a way to get Flash to do what you're telling it without getting that. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but that weird pixely looking line that you'll occasionally get. Yeah, it's
Right.
like
Which happens under specific circumstances for us.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
But so I usually will I'm super careful about trying to find that sweet spot, especially when I'm going to clean up. So before I even start, usually the first thing I'll do, if I'm mindful, is just a circle warm up, where I just draw circles over and over again, perpetually getting smaller, to check consistency. And one thing you'll notice, at least if something's off, is if you do a soft line right there. See that?
Right.
That's the shit we don't like. That's what you don't want. Down here, fine. That's when something needs to be adjusted. Also avoiding those gaps. That can be a real pain when you're trying to do solid shapes like this, or any of those base layers that I was talking about before. Super annoying. Then you have to go and zoom in and try to find where the gaps are in your line art. Any other questions?
I think we'll do go around and we'll do a Jade part 2 where you actually like build something maybe.
Oh,
Not next week, but
yeah, I could.
I wanna do
Yeah,
more.
Another maybe circle that. Yeah.
you know,
like just straight up animate something. I'd be
Yeah.
done with that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, should definitely do one of those. Cool.
Sweet. Good job.
Thank you guys. This would have been.
Like the stylist.
Yeah, that's what. No, shoot, that'd have been super awkward if y'all weren't here. Excuse me.